this part of our tutorial, I'm going to design the basic layout in Android this time. So I'm going to do the same as with iOS. I'll add in the text fields and the buttons and the label. In this case, the label is actually called a text view. And I'm going to show you the differences between designing the layout in Android and iOS. It's the same principles, but there are different names and a slightly different way of doing things. Now we've completely built our app in iOS, let's do the same in Android. I'm going to be moving a little faster because we want to keep the video not too long, and we've already kind of seen exactly what we need to do. So I'll go through this quickly and just explain the differences as I go. So right now I'm in the Android portion of this, so I've closed the iOS version and I'm just in the Android. I have my main activity.cs. This is again where the main bulk of the code is going to go. And main.axml is the same as the storyboard in the iOS. This is where we're going to design the layout. So if you can't find it, main.axml is under resources under layout. And main.activity.cs is just in the main folder here. So let's switch to main.axml and let's design our layout. So in the last version, we had 4 text fields, a button, and a label. So they're called slightly different things in Android. So still under Toolbox, and this will be under text fields. So the text views are just going to be like the labels. This is going to be text that we can't modify. But the text that requires input is going to be plain text. So we're just going to select it and drag it over. And I'm going to drag over 4 of these for the 4 inputs. It says 4. And if I go up, I'm going to go under form widgets, again under toolbox, and there's going to be a button. And now I'm going to scroll down to text view, and I'm going to add that in. Now notice in iOS we had a very small box that was about this size that we could move around and place anywhere. In Android it kind of slots it automatically into these nice vertical slots. So although we don't have to worry about an XY position, we don't have to worry about an X position, we do have to worry about a Y position, and we can modify that. For now, let's just get the basic layouts done and we'll leave it. So our first one, we're going to go under properties now, and under ID, this is like the name for iOS, we're going to get rid of edit text and we're going to call this txt. It's going to be principal investment, and we're going to give it the hint. So the hint is the same as the placeholder text. In iOS they're called placeholders, in Android they're called hint, but they're basically exactly the same thing. And this is going to be money invested principally. And if we click enter, we see it appear up here. So dollars invested principally. Okay, and we'll go to the next field, and this one is going to be txt. This one is going to be in our calculator. We had the principal investment, and then we had the number of times compounded. So this is just going to be, in fact we had the interest rate first. This is going to be interest. In fact, no, we had the number of times compounded. Well, it doesn't really matter. Let's call this interest rate, and we're going to enter something under hints. This is going to be the percent interest. And okay, so that's good. So we've got interest as our second field. Again, it doesn't really matter which order you put this in. I'm just going to try and keep the same order that I had before. So again, going to the third input field, I'm going to say txt. This one's going to be the times compounded. So number times compounded. And we're going to go to hint and say number of times compounded. And we'll just say per year. Per year. Okay, so that's good. And we'll do the same with the last one. This one's going to be txt. This one's going to be time invested, and this one's going to be number of years invested. And in fact, I'm going to change time to years to be more specific. Always good to be more specific when you can. Okay, and button, I'm going to change to BTN calculate, and the text is going to be calculate final investment. And this text field, I'm going to give it the text value txt, and it's going to be final investment. And the text is just going to say final investment value is, and there we go. Alright, so we've got our setup. It's basically the same as with iOS. It looks a little different, but we have the 4 text fields. The button, when pressed, will perform the calculations, and the label, or in this case what we call a text view, that will display the final value of our investment. So that's the basic layout in Android. In this part of the tutorial, I designed the basic layout in Android. So what we did is we added 4 text fields, so one for each of the 4 variable inputs. We added the calculate button, which when pressed will perform the calculation and print our results, and the text view that will hold the results and display the final value. So by now you should be able to design the basic app layout both in iOS and Android, and add in the text and button fields, and also be able to tell me the difference between designing the layout in Android and in iOS, so be able to distinguish between the two.